Hello, and welcome to another Wednesday live stream where we are going to help you improve your English. My name's Craig from mansioningles.com and from the podcast inglespodcast.com. And using the website and the podcast, you can improve your English for free and take it up to the next level. And my co-host today is Lynne from putitlikethis.com. Hi, Lynne.
Hello, Craig. How are you today?
I'm very well. I'm excited
Uh-huh.
to be back with you talking about job interview
Right, job interview.
English.
That's right.
Yes.
I'll just introduce myself in case people don't know or haven't been with us before and seen me. So my name is Lynne. I'm from putitlikethis.com. I'm an online teacher and I tailor make courses to suit the objectives of the students. So if you want to find out more about me and my classes, you can go to putitlikethis.com and you can find out more there, and you can also contact me there too.
Okay, so while we're waiting for people to join us live on Facebook and YouTube, to remind you, this week we are continuing from the last session,
Two,
which was 2 weeks
2
ago,
weeks ago. Mm-hmm.
in which we spoke about how to answer job interview questions in English, how to behave in a job interview, what to do, what not to do. So this is part 2 of the live stream we did 2 weeks ago. And if you haven't seen the first part, you can go to, is it your YouTube page or
Yes, I
putitlikethis.com?
have a YouTube channel too, at Put It Like This. So if you put it like this, I'm not very famous, so you'll probably have to put it like this, Lynne Craig, and then it'll come up in the search engine.
Right.
Uh-huh. But otherwise, you can also click to it through my website. Uh-huh. And you, Craig, where do you put the videos? On Mansion Ingles, yeah?
On mansioningles.com in the video
Mhm.
section, and also on the Mansion Ingles YouTube channel, which is La Mansión del Inglés. And that will take you to
Okay.
our YouTube channel where we are live. And Gabby is watching us live on YouTube. Hi, Gabby. Thanks for joining.
Hello, Gavi, and also Monica. Monica, hi. Nice to see you. Okay, so shall we maybe recap a little bit about what the kind of questions we covered in the first session, and then we're going to start talking about some other typical questions that we can get during the job interview. So, Craig, do you want to give a quick summary of what we did last time, or shall I?
Yes. No, last time we spoke, we'll do maybe one each. So
Mm-hmm.
really important. Please don't forget this. Make sure you research your potential employer before you go to the interview. Find out as much as possible about the company. Google the company, Google the person you're going to be speaking with, make notes, find out about the background of the company, what they're doing, their history, what their philosophy is, how the company functions. Go to LinkedIn, anything you can do online before you walk into the interview is knowledge and information that will help you speak to your interviewer. So do your research well before you go on your interview. What else should people bear in mind, Lynne?
Well, I think you've got it there on the banner. So it says, be aware of your body language. And I think last week we also spoke about dress as well. And you know, and the thing is, the information that you just mentioned before, if you do your research about the employer, you find out about what kind of company it is. And then, of course, you dress accordingly to the company, okay? Because you don't want to look too intimidating, you don't want to look too formal, but you don't want to be too informal either. And we also spoke a lot about, I think we spoke about, Craig, didn't we, about being sort of, obviously there's those tips that you shouldn't sit like this because that looks quite defensive, that you sit with open arms, that you smile a lot, and that you keep eye contact with the interviewer. And often if you keep eye contact with the interviewer, the other thing is it makes you feel more relaxed. If you're looking at your notes or you're looking at your hands or you're looking somewhere else, you get very nervous. But the natural response, if you look at somebody in the face and look in their eyes, then usually it's a calming influence. So try to keep eye contact as much as possible. Hmm.
And that's especially important if you're having an interview online on the internet. At the moment, I'm looking directly into my webcam and hopefully I'm making eye contact with you. It's
Mm.
very, very tempting. I really want to look down the screen at Lynne
Hmm.
because she's on my screen here. But I know if I'm looking at Lynne, I'm not looking at you. So when you're having the interview, make sure you're looking directly into your webcam and put
Hmm.
your webcam up more or less to eye level so that it's
Hmm.
not looking up your
Oh,
nose,
no.
which is not a good impression.
No, no. And if any of you didn't see the class 6 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, 4 weeks
Oh,
ago,
4 weeks ago.
4 weeks
Yeah.
ago, we did a technical class too, to tell you about, if you're having online interviews, how you can set up everything with lighting and sound and everything else. Mhm.
And
Okay.
the third thing is just be yourself, be natural. You don't want to try to be somebody you're not just to get the job. Be honest. Who are you? Why do you want to work there? If you try to project a personality or a character that's not you and they employ you, then very quickly going to know that that's not you, that was somebody in the interview. So the best thing to do is to be yourself and make sure you're a good fit for the company. That expression, to be a good fit, means that you are going to be happy at the company and the company is going to be happy with you. So you are a good fit for the
Mhm.
position or for the job. So just be open, say what you give honest answers, be yourself, and hopefully that will be enough to get you the job. Hi,
Mhm.
Carolyn. Hi, Gemma. Good to see
Hello,
you.
and Rodrigo too. Hi. Yeah. So, yeah. Hello, everybody who's joining us now. And
Rodrigo's
five.
saying,
Uh-huh.
sorry, Lynn, Rodrigo's
Sorry.
saying that English is so different to Spanish. Why do you say that, Rodrigo? Do you mean in job interviews that the way of being in a job interview, if it's in English, is different from Spanish? Is that what your comment means?
Uh-huh.
Hi, Concha.
Not
Good to
sure
see you
about that.
too.
Hello, Concha. Hi.
Sorry, Lynn, I
Uh-huh.
interrupted you.
Sorry. There was 2 points I was going to make. First point, the last link to the last one, be natural, honest, and open. We also mentioned last week is always remember in an interview that it's a two-way street. So of course you want to get the job. So you have a purpose. You want to get the job. But as Craig said, be natural, be honest and open. But you also need to give that impression because you are also finding information out about the company. And if you're honest with the interviewer hopefully will be honest with you. And that's important as a good basis for a good relationship. If you start telling lies and the employer starts telling lies, then you're going to be very deceived and disappointed anyway. So that's, try to remember it is a two-way street. It's a conversation. It's not an interrogation, really. Mhm.
Yeah. You're not in the
Okay.
police with a light shining in your
Yeah,
face,
yeah, yeah,
being
yeah.
grilled by the FBI. Another thing we mentioned 2 weeks ago was if you are going to present your CV or your resume is the American expression for CV, which is the British expression. Make sure when you translate it, it's translated by a professional translator, somebody who
Mhm.
will translate it accurately and well to give the best impression possible. I remember when I was teaching in the school, I used to get students come to me usually at the end of the lesson and say,
Me
"Craig,
too.
I'm looking for a job. Can you check my CV?" Well, they're asking a teacher to do something which I looked at it quickly, but my advice was always that don't ask your teacher in 2 minutes to quickly look at your CV. It could possibly change your life, your next
Uh-huh.
job. So invest in it, spend the money, get it professionally translated,
Mhm.
and make sure you adapt your CV for the position you're applying for and only include relevant information in the CV.
Mhm.
Do you want to
Mhm.
add anything there, Lynn?
No, I think that's fine. That makes sense. We'll get on to the questions soon. Yeah, is that more or less? Yeah, or are you going to sum up just quickly, are you going to refer to the questions we talked about last time, or are we going on to the new
No, I think
questions
people
now?
can go back and yeah, we did speak about what did we? Oh, tell us about yourself was one question.
Was one of them, and we did. I'll just have a look here. We did tell me a bit about yourself. Why would you like to work for us? Why should we hire you? Why? I think that's the one we did. Yeah. And then we said greatest strengths and greatest weaknesses. We had
Yeah,
those questions.
greatest strengths and greatest weaknesses. So if you'd like some advice on how to answer those questions, and go and listen to the live we did 2 weeks ago. Yes,
Hmm.
Vicente, it's been a long time since you last connected, but it's good to see you live. Thank you for coming in and keeping us company while we're doing this live stream.
Hmm.
So let's look at some other questions that interviewers might ask you, and how would you answer these questions? So if you're watching live, please write in the chat your answer. Now, this could be a tricky question. Why would you like to work for us? Why should we hire you? How would you answer that kind of question in a job interview
Hmm.
in English?
So if you've got some ideas, see how you would write it in the chat for us. Why would you like to work for us? Why should we hire you? What kind of things, in the meantime, while they're writing their answers, what kind of things would you say, Craig, for that?
Well, this goes back to the research, doesn't it?
That's what I was about to say.
If you've
As well.
researched the company and they're going to pay you money, what can you do for the company to improve the company? How can you do your job to the company's advantage? What can you give to the company in
What can you
return for your
contribute to
salary?
their success? So if you've looked at the website and you found out information about the company and what they're trying to do, then you can look at your own skills. And this is the opportunity. These kind of questions are wonderful if you get them, because this is the opportunity where you can actually persuade the employer that the skills you've got are the skills they need. So, why would you like to work for us, and why should we hire you? I think those are questions that you definitely can prepare before you go, can't you? For each, I don't think you should be surprised by those questions. Those are things that you should have very clear before you go into the room, because that
Yeah,
does show that you've done your preparation. Hmm.
absolutely. So obviously, it depends a lot on what kind of job you're applying for, but you obviously have to emphasize your skill set, the things that you're good at, and how you can give to the company. Any comments from you? Have you? No, nobody is telling
Nobody's
us what
writing
they
anything.
think.
Nobody's telling anything. I suppose it depends on the job. So maybe we can do an
Yeah,
example, Craig. For example, if my company's not very big, it's only me, but imagine I was very successful and was employing teachers, and you applied to come and work for me. How would you answer that question for me, for example? If I said to you, why would you like to work for me, Craig?
well, because I've worked with you before, Lynn, and I think we're a really good team.
Hmm. Okay.
No, seriously.
No,
Well,
but that's a good start. I mean, you're
I've
honest, and
I've got
you're
I've
not
got a
making
lot.
anything up.
I've got a lot to offer. I've got 25 years experience teaching English. I really enjoy teaching English, especially online. And I've got some fantastic ideas that I think can help you develop your business and take it up to the next level. I think we could work together and really expand the business.
Hmm.
So I'd love to share my ideas with you to see what you think.
Hmm. There you go.
Something like that.
Okay, so
Yeah.
something like that. That seems like to be very, very comprehensive in that sense. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, well, so yeah, nobody's written anything yet. So
Nope.
what we would summarize that question with, yeah, again, how can you benefit the company? So what experience do you have? What skills do you have that you can offer in return for your salary? Remember, they want to give you the job if they can see that it's to their advantage. So obviously it's a real plus. It's a good thing if you can come across that phrasal verb to come across means to give the impression that you are likable, a very nice person. That's always good. But more than that, they want to know that you can improve their profits, the money they're making. People are in business to make money. And whether that can be improving their brand awareness, improving their marketing, improving their customer service, whatever the job is, they want to know that you can help them with the position that you're applying for.
Mm-hmm. And I think maybe I'm going to say something else here, of course, because you and I are quite old. So we have got experience, but of course, when you're younger, maybe it's difficult to answer that question about how I can make the company more money, because maybe you haven't got that many skills yet. Maybe you're fresh out of university, or maybe you're entering a field that you've never worked in before. Okay.
Mhm.
But there are other things that you can mention there which would make you attractive to the company. For example, I listed things like, for example, professionalism. Yeah, maybe you can say, well, look, I'm a very hardworking professional. Now, you might not be able to give an example in that business, but remember last time we said always try to back it up by an example. So
Mhm.
you could say, so for example, when I was at university and we had to do presentations in front of people in a group work, I was very good at organizing the group. I made sure everybody had very, very clear objectives. When it came to do the presentation, we organized a timetable so that we weren't leaving everything until the last minute. We made sure that the audience had details of what we were going to talk about, and we practiced it beforehand to make sure that we wouldn't take too long presenting, that we would keep within the time. And I was the one who would manage all of that with the rest of my group because I'm very good at organizing, for example. All right.
Yeah.
And if you can give an answer like that with a bit of a backup, you can prove that you're a person who can organize. You can do the same with other skills, other soft skills, like maybe you're a very efficient person, or maybe you're a very honest person, or maybe you're a very reliable person. Those are kind of things that everybody always wants. Everybody wants a professional, efficient, reliable and loyal worker. Okay. So
Yeah.
if you haven't got a lot of skills yet, then maybe you can answer the question in that direction. Okay. But remember always to give an example.
Of course,
Okay.
if you do have experience and you have worked at other companies, then you want to give examples of how you improved your previous company. So,
Mm-hmm.
what successes do you have from your last job? And you can give those as of examples of how you can be impressive in your new job with this company. Sarah's asking
Mm-hmm.
about how do you see yourself in 3 months' time? We're coming to that, Sarah. There is a question about the future, so
Yeah.
keep watching, and we'll look at that question
And she specifically is
later.
asking about the grammar, isn't she? What grammar you use when you use will and going to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll take notes, Sarah, and then when we come to that question, we'll address that.
We will
Uh-huh.
get to that, we
Yeah.
promise. The
Mm-hmm.
next question, though, going down our list, is also could be a tricky question. Why do you want to leave your current job, or why did you leave your last job? Because either you're in between jobs,
Mm-hmm.
which is also an expression you can use in the interview. I'm in between jobs. I'm not working now. Don't say unemployed. I'm not working now. I'm between jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So why did you leave your last job, or why do you want to leave your current position?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's usually a good. Well, what do you think? Write what you think, and then we'll tell you what we think. I think that's the best way
Uh-huh.
to do it.
Yeah.
What would you say to that question? Why do you want to leave your job?
Mm-hmm.
Tricky, isn't it? That's a tricky one.
It's a tricky one because I think you have to answer it honestly. And I think that, let's face it, most people leave their jobs because either they don't like them, yeah, or they don't like their boss,
Yeah.
or they want to earn more money. Uh-huh.
That's what Monique says, for a better
That's right.
salary.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Or they're bored. Uh-huh.
Mm.
Okay. And I think the thing is, all of those, Caroline says, Craig, there is no movement. The video is frozen.
Can somebody, Sada, is it frozen for you? Carlos, Anna, Vicente, do you have a frozen video?
Oh,
Or
Monique,
is it only Caroline? I'm guessing it
Caroline.
might only be Caroline. So if you can quickly, can you see us, hear us? Type yes
Uh-huh.
if you're okay.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
it's okay.
Monica's okay.
So
Sorry,
it's
Caroline. I think
it's
it's your internet
you,
connection.
Caroline. It's your internet
Mm-hmm.
down in Alicante that's letting you
Uh-huh.
down.
Sorry about that. Okay, thanks guys for letting us know. Yeah, and him has said, for example, to take care of my son. All right. Now,
Mm,
I think the thing is, the problem with this question is that all of those reasons are legitimate reasons. So that they're your honest reasons. But I think when you answer the question, you have to make them sound positive experiences, not negative experiences, because I don't think anybody wants to hear negativity. Okay?
mhm.
So I think it's really important that when you present why you're leaving your job or why you did leave your last job, you want to make it sound positive. So, for example, imagine you didn't like your boss or you didn't like your colleagues, right? I don't think it's necessarily a good idea to say I didn't get on with my colleagues, because, of course, the interviewer might think that you're a difficult personality.
Yeah,
Yeah. Hmm.
difficult to get on with you. Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't want to give that impression. So what could you say, Craig, in terms of that?
Well, you could say that you want to be challenged more, that you want to
Hmm.
advance in your career, that you didn't feel you were given opportunities to grow in your previous job.
Hmm.
And so it should really be more about your career and how you can improve yourself with the new company.
Hmm.
So yeah, as Lynn said, don't criticize your employer or your previous employer or your current employer. Don't stay
Hmm.
away from negativity. Don't be negative, but focus
Hmm.
on your professional growth. How can this company help you with your career goals?
Hmm.
And at the same time, obviously, you're helping the company. So it's a win-win situation.
Exactly. And then, for example, with Hema, when her reason for leaving her job was to look after her son, and then she said, and then her daughter.
Yeah.
I think that that's a very obviously, it's a very legitimate reason, but you should also say, well, there was a time in my life where I needed to give full-time attention to my family. But then you can say, but now they are growing, they are more independent, and now I have more time to dedicate to a job or to dedicate to other activities. And I also want to challenge myself and give myself variety in what I'm doing. Yeah.
Mm.
So again, focusing on how you're personally growing and how you're looking forward to a new environment. And when we were talking earlier, Craig, about like maybe problems with colleagues or problems with bosses, you can also assess for yourself, do you like working in teams? Or do you prefer to work on your own? And then maybe you can express that desire in that answer. You can say, in my last job, I didn't have much opportunity to be able to work on my own and to develop ideas. And that's something that I'm very much looking forward to. I am a team player, but I also like the opportunity to work alone and have more responsibility. Hmm.
I like that
Or you could
expression. I'm a
say,
team player.
or you could say the opposite. You could say, in my last job, everybody was working very much on their own, and I can work on my own, but I believe we can achieve excellence when we work in teams. Right? So you can make anything sound positive, but you need to be clear about how you're going to focus on it. Okay. and
Absolutely.
and and try to make whatever your situation was, why you're coming to the job, try to be honest about it, but try to make the next move forward. You're trying to transform it into something positive. I think that's the. I hope everybody's understood what I'm trying to say. I
No,
might
it's
have been a
clear.
bit
It's clear to
garblling there.
me. If you if you have any questions, if something's not clear, then please ask us in the chat, and we will answer your questions, of course. Now, the next one is a general question. So again, please write your answer in the chat. What have you achieved that you are most proud of? So write your answer in the chat.
Yes,
Now,
tell us how you would answer that question. Come on, try.
I'm very interested to see if people write personal achievements or professional. That will be interesting, because it might be very tempting to say, well, my son or my daughter, but I mean, does the employer really want to hear that? Maybe.
Might not be the most interesting thing.
Anna's asking, what is the conference about? Do you mean this talk, Anna? We're talking about job interviews and how we can help you pass a job interview in English. So you're a little bit late. Don't worry. Join in and answer this question. What have you achieved that you are most proud of? Which could be a job interview question, because I think it really could show quite a lot about what kind of person you are, how you answer that. What do you think, Lynn? Is that a question that
Well,
you
it's a
would?
tricky question for me, because I have to say, when people ask me questions like that, I'm pretty straight up. And for example, for me, I am most proud of my personal area. I am also proud of my professional area, but I'm more proud, I think, of my personal area,
So
because
would you give two answers then, and say that, well, in my personal life, I'm blah, 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 and in my professional life, blah, blah, blah? Would you give two
yeah.
answers?
Yeah, or maybe ask the interviewer, do you want to know that in terms of profession or in terms of my personal
Yeah. Ask for
situation?
clarification.
Because I think, interviewers might be interested in both answers, because on the one hand, they want to know, can you do the job? But that kind of question doesn't give them a lot of information about whether you can do the job, because it's too general. But sometimes as well, interviewers want to know, what kind of person are you? Because they're also assessing, are you similar? Do you share similar values to other people in the team, for example? So I'm not sure whether, maybe it's a good idea to say, well, I mean, you could give two answers, of course, or you can ask the interviewer in which sphere he wants that question answered, possibly. Okay. Carlos has said, I am proud to have gone to Sine in military commission.
So
Sine is a place, I
Carlos
suppose.
is in the army, I think. So Sine, is that a country,
Or is
Carlos?
it a region, maybe,
An
Carlos? I
area?
don't know, an area. And in military commission isn't quite right, Carlos. We wouldn't say in military commission. You'd say on a military mission.
I would say in the army, or
Or
for the
in the
army,
army, if that's what,
as a soldier in the
as a
military.
soldier. Maybe you can tell us that, Carlos, because it's a little bit confusing for us in English, the way you've structured that, to Sine in military commission. Okay, well, part of it is our ignorance. I don't know whether Sine is a place and where it is.
It rings a bell, Sine. I think it might be in
Carlos says
Malaysia.
it's in
Oh, it's in
Egypt.
Egypt. It's in Egypt. Okay, Carlos, thanks.
Okay, Sine. So I'm proud to have gone to Sine. But now, Carlos, I'm not sure what you mean with military commission. Maybe you were on, that's it, on a peacekeeping mission. So
Wow.
I am proud to have gone to Sine on, not in, on a peacekeeping mission. a peacekeeping mission. Sorry. Yes, good, Carlos. Good. I am proud to have gone to Sine on a peacekeeping mission. Good.
And
That's
Carlos says he's a private in the army. Yeah,
great.
he's a
Okay.
private. So yeah, that is something to be proud of, and that's quite an achievement
Mhm.
to go on a peacekeeping mission.
Yeah,
That's
and
wonderful.
it tells the interviewer that you're committed to sort of, I don't know, social, international justice, and you're also proud because you have completed something that's probably quite difficult. So I think you're giving information to the interviewer about yourself there as
And
well.
also that your
Okay.
ambitions go outside yourself, that there's something bigger than you, that it's not all
Uh-huh.
about your expensive car, your big house, your salary. It's helping and the common good, which I think
Uh-huh.
is really nice as well. Caroline's
And
saying that she's
huh?
proud of having worked after her first professional education and got my university degree at the same time. Yep. It shows I'm
Mhm.
very engaged.
Uh-huh.
Engaged, maybe?
Committed, Caroline.
Committed. Committed.
Committed. I'm very committed. You're not
Motivated.
engaged. Engaged means like to somebody if you're going to be engaged to be married. Yeah, which is not what you mean. Okay. So it shows that I'm very committed or I'm very motivated. And I would be careful with professional education. I don't think that that's very English, Caroline, because I think I know what you mean, because I think you're probably translating from Spanish, which is
Or maybe German.
formación profesional, or German. I don't know. Um,
My first
I don't know
degree.
what. Well, it's not her, no, because she got her university degree. Or maybe what you're trying to say, Caroline, is I'm very proud of having worked in my first profession while getting a university degree at the same time. It shows that I'm very committed.
Mhm.
Maybe something
Yep.
like that, Caroline. That might be that's a little bit better. Because when you say professional education in English, hopefully all education is professional. It's not amateur. Yeah. So when you're using that adjective before education, you're describing how the education is, and that's not really what you mean. Okay. So you need to say after I was working in a profession.
So what,
She just
obviously
said, "Can I please repeat it?" Yes.
yeah, repeat
Sorry,
it.
Caroline. I will repeat it for you. So can you just put it back on the screen, Craig, so I can
Yeah.
repeat it for Caroline? So I'm very proud of having worked in my first profession while getting my university degree at the same time. It shows that I'm very committed.
Or
Okay.
motivated. Yeah.
Or motivated.
And hardworking.
And
Car
hardworking, definitely.
Caroline is hardworking. I know that for a fact.
Okay.
What, have you achieved in your professional life that you're most proud of, Lynn? Obviously, you're proud of your
Um,
family, your daughters,
yeah, of course.
but
But in
that
my professional life, I think the thing that I'm most proud of is hmm, I think I have two areas of my professional life that I was very proud of. Many years ago, before, well, it was in between. I was a teacher, and then I changed professions, and I was working in IT. And I was very proud of my development in IT because I went to IT with no university background in IT, and 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 I worked my way up. I was very lucky because I had a very good mentor. My boss was very good to me. I had several bosses who were very good to me and gave me that opportunity. And I was very proud of when I finally made it to project manager.
mhm.
Of an IT project in an international setting. So I was very proud of that. Then I went back into teaching because of my family. And in terms of my teaching career, I think the thing I'm most proud of now is having started Put It Like This, because it's been the culmination of all my experience in teaching. I knew exactly how I wanted to teach. And I've been able to teach exactly the way I think I know I want to teach, and I believe is the right way to teach. And I've been able to do it exactly the way I want it by starting my own company and not teaching the way other organizations might want me to teach. So if in a sense, I have my own vision, and I've been able to realize it with, put it like this, I've been able to put it into practice. What about you, Craig?
Putitlikethis.com, definitely. Well, I think I'm possibly most proud of the ebook that I wrote that will help you pass an interview in
Really?
English. And I'm going to put
Yeah.
the link in the chat and in the show notes. Show notes? No, in the chat. No, that was me giving a shameless plug for my ebook on mentioningles.com. No, I think, well, when I first thought about that question, let me put it up again. When I first read that question, I thought of the podcast, because I'm really pleased with the podcast that we've kept it going every week since 2014, which is a personal achievement that really reflects on me. But then when I thought about it also, and what I would probably say in an interview, is that I'm really proud of the people we've helped through the podcast to pass exams, to get promotion, to get a better job, to improve their English. So the feedback we get from listeners of the podcast and from the mentioningles.com is that we've helped them with their English, and that's helped them with their lives. So obviously that will be something I would say, I believe that and I think that, but that's probably my answer in an interview, because that's the benefit to the employer as
Exactly. It shows much more what you can give to the employer. That's right.
So try to connect to the position you're applying for, or connect the answer to the company, or a time when you maybe overcame a challenge in your life and you managed to, like Caroline's example with studying and working at the same time, something that was difficult for you, but you did it and you were really, really proud afterwards.
And when you've mentioned that, can you connect anything to the position you're applying for, or the company? I think that's the same if they ask you to answer that question. What are you most proud of in your personal life? Again, try to choose something where you can show an example of how that maybe will help the company. I think you do have to be a little bit clever like that.
Yeah, not an easy question, though.
It's not an easy question, and it needs preparation. I was not prepared tonight, so don't think my answer was the best one.
No, but it was great. It was great.
No, but it wasn't really showing maybe, yeah. It was speaking more about me and not about others. And I think the answer, for example, that Carlos, it was Carlos, wasn't it?
Oh,
Who gave
Caroline?
about
Oh, about the army.
Carlos about the army. That can show how it can help other people, not just yourself. So it's not such an egotistical answer in a sense.
Yeah.
And mine was a little egotistical, I would think. Yeah. Whereas yours was more altruistic.
Well, my second one,
Your
maybe,
second
but
answer,
my
yes.
first one was totally egocentric. Let's move on
Mhm.
to another possible question that you might get, or at least you should perhaps no, at least you
Prepare
should
for?
prepare for.
Uh-huh.
Prepare for is, do you prefer working in a group on your own? Now, that is a fairly common question, and that reflects what kind of a person you're going to be in the company, especially if you're going to be working in teams and collaborating with other members of staff. So again, how would you answer that? Write an answer in the chat and we will put it up on the screen and help you with it. Do you prefer
Uh-huh.
working in a group or on your own? The only thing I would say is that sometimes questions seem to be black and white, yes or no, very clear. And sometimes they're in the middle, they're gray. You don't necessarily have to answer one way or the other way.
Mhm.
Do you agree with that, Lynn?
Yes, and I think that's a very difficult question. If you've done your research about the position, probably you can predict what they want in the role that you're applying for. Yeah. So if you've done your homework and you've discovered what they want, then obviously you're going to slant your answer to try to show examples. I mean, the truth of the matter is, when they ask you that question, they basically want you to do both, don't they? They want you to be able to work on your own when necessary, and they want you to be able to be a team player when necessary. And if
Exactly.
you've done your research with the company and you think that the job that you're applying for is looking for more teamwork, then you can give an example of teamwork and why it's good. And then you can back it up with an example of when you worked on your own and it was also good, but you slant it one way or the other depending on what the job probably wants. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So maybe to answer that question, it could be both for different reasons. Be careful of those either or questions because obviously you need to be independent, you need to show initiative, you need to be able to work by yourself. However, most companies in most jobs, even if you are just programming in IT and you're working on your own a lot of the time, you are still part of a team. You need to have team meetings, you need to work with people who are doing the interface of the software if you're a programmer. So it's not all solitary. You
Mm-hmm.
need to be able to work with other people in the company. So it's not an easy question to answer. And I would suggest, as Lynn said, maybe mixing it
Mm-hmm.
and saying both for different reasons.
Do you want to give an example, Craig? Maybe? Shall I ask you?
Yes, why don't you ask me a
Yeah.
question?
Okay, then. So, do you prefer working in a team or on your own?
Well, I really enjoy both because as a teacher, obviously, I have to be creative in preparing my lessons for the students, but very often I'll share ideas with colleagues and I love doing collaborative teaching. Sometimes we do team teaching. I really enjoy getting together with Lynn online every 2 weeks so that we can teach together. And I do like sharing my experience and teaching with other teachers. On the other hand, obviously, then there are some duties of a teacher that have to be done by myself, and I'm quite happy to do that as well because I
Hmm.
enjoy my job.
Oh, that's lovely. I'll hire you.
Yeah, give me a job.
Okay, we've got some answers coming in now. Maria, Hima, and Caroline. So, Maria, I prefer the best of both worlds. If I work individually, I could solve all my tasks, but I also could be a team player, taking other people's opinions and giving mine.
Very
No
good
S on
answer.
the end there, Maria. No S on the end. Yeah, that's a very good answer, Maria. And again, to make it even better, if you can follow it up with a concrete example. Notice that Craig was talking about when I'm in the classroom, but then I like working in teams with Lynn online. Okay. So if you can back it up with a real solid example, then you're going to really convince the interviewer that that's exactly what you believe now, because it's a very good answer. Mm-hmm.
And to solve a task isn't a common collocation, Maria.
No,
Those two words
no.
don't really like to go together. You solve problems, you solve issues, you
Mm-hmm.
meet challenges, and you do tasks or you engage with tasks perhaps.
You can
So,
also say work through. If I
mm,
work individually, I can work through all my tasks. Uh-huh. Work through is like doing one after the other. Uh-huh. Okay. But
Gemma
I
said that
can, uh-huh.
when she
Hmm.
worked in the past, she worked by herself within a team. Yeah, I
Hmm.
think most people do, don't they? You have your tasks, you have
Uh-huh.
your jobs, and then you come together with the team to make sure you're going in the same direction.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And then Caroline says, I like to work in a team with team goals where everyone can contribute to it with his strengths, maybe with their strengths, Caroline, and then you're not being sexist in any way, all right, with their strengths. But there are always jobs do better, you do better, wrong word order, do better on your own. Uh-huh. that's a fine answer. And again, with examples to back it up. Which jobs do you do better on your own, and
Working on a
which jobs do
project.
you
Yeah.
better in a team? Uh-huh.
Yeah. And you
And
can
I
give
like
an example from a
mm,
previous job. I worked on a
exactly.
project in my last company, and
Uh-huh.
I did a lot of the graphic design, and a lot of the promotional material, but I was part of a team and we worked together,
Mhm.
blah, 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 blah. So you
Uh-huh.
can give an example from something you've done in the past.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think what Hema was saying when she said she worked by herself in a team, yeah. I think that's also useful to sort of explore that a little bit more, because really when you work in a team, an efficient team is one where everybody knows exactly what they're responsible for. Uh-huh. And then when they come together, I think a very productive team is one where everybody is open to feedback from the others on the work that they have done, because that's when it gets enriched. That's when the work really becomes richer, isn't it? But
Yeah.
an efficient team is when people are all responsible for a different part. But just because you're responsible for a different part doesn't mean that you have the final say on that part. When you come together in a team, if people can say, oh, you could improve that, or you could improve that, and you're open to those comments, that's when you have a very powerful team, isn't it? So it involves both things, I think. Uh-huh.
Okay,
Yeah.
I want to jump now to the question that we had before
Yes, we
about
must.
speaking about the future, because
Uh-huh.
we don't have too
Where
much time left.
yeah.
So this will be an example of speaking about the future. Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? Um,
I think I can't remember the name. Was it Maria? I can't, who asked that question? But she had actually said 3 months time. Yeah, Sarah. It was Sarah,
Sarah.
I think. Sarah said, "Where do you see yourself in 3 months' time?"
Hmm.
How do you see yourself after 3 months? Yeah. So that's a little bit more like near a short-term projection. And then, of
Hmm.
course, sometimes people give a longer-term projection as well in 5 years' time. Would you like to start, Craig, or shall I?
Well, the
My
5 years'
attentive.
time, I think
Mhm.
that asks about your ambitions. Where do you see your career going? The employer wants to know that you have thought about your career and that you have a career path. And that obviously is important for the company, because you're not going to say, well, I see myself doing your job. The person doesn't want you to be too ambitious, but at the same time, you don't want to say, well, doing the same thing as I've ever done. You have to have
Mhm.
some kind of ambition so that you can grow with the company. And that will be a nice expression to use. I see
Mhm.
myself growing with the company, taking on more responsibility. I'd really like to move into a management position at some stage. So saying things like that give a clear indication, that tell the employer you have a clear career path, you know where you want to go, and can the company help you get there? And can you
Mhm.
benefit the company at the same time?
I think, though, as well, you have to really do your research, because, you have to look at the research for your position and the company and see that there are positions of the ones that you would like in the company. Obviously, don't say in 5 years' time you want to be uh, international director if the company you're applying for doesn't work internationally. Obviously, you have to confine your ambitions to answer the question within the scope that the company might be able to offer you. Mhm. And going back to Sarah's question initially, where she said, how do you see yourself in 3 months' time? I think that question is more about your short term goals. And I think with that question, Sarah, you can answer things like, you can give a good analysis of the skills that you have and acknowledge the things that you know you're going to have to learn in the new position. So you again, that can be an opportunity to demonstrate what you already know and to demonstrate your understanding of where you think the company's priorities are, I think. Yeah. So
Yep.
you and now you were also specifically asking Sarah about the tenses. I'm going to or I will. Now I would probably, in that answer of the 3 months time, I would probably say I would hope. In 3 months' time, I would hope that I have learned about how the sales work in your company. Mhm. Because I have a lot of experience in marketing, I would hope that in 3 months' time, I will be able to combine the local knowledge, the things that I've learned with your team, and be able to apply some of the other knowledge that I have to give you a competitive advantage, for example. Yeah. So if you can do something like that. Now, I would say I would hope. The reason I would say I would hope is because it shows a little bit more modesty, I think. It shows that you, I mean, you don't really know. The interviewer probably knows more about how your first 3 months are going to be than you do. And if you say, I will do this and I will do that, it's a little bit too strong. Would you agree,
Too
Craig?
assertive.
It's
Yeah,
too assertive. Uh-huh.
it's predicting. Yeah. Another possibility that you could use is the future perfect.
Uh-huh.
Uh, um, I will have become. I hope I will have
Yeah.
become an integral part of the sales team. I hope I
Mm,
will have um, really fitted into the company culture and feel very comfortable in my position. So that
mhm,
will have, which is the same as present perfect, but in the future, in 3 months' time, in 5 years' time, I will have become a permanent member of staff, for example.
mhm, mhm. And we often use sometimes when they're asking for this prediction, because there are other questions. They'd say, if we give you the job, what would you do with the sales team? Right. So they often give you that kind of speculating question.
That
And
would
when
be
you
wood.
have that
Yeah.
speculating question, we usually use would. I would do this. I would do that. Or I would hope that they will have accomplish this, something like that for the future perfect. It's a bit of a tricky area, so it is worth maybe preparing a little bit beforehand your
Mhm.
answer to that question, because when you have it on paper, you'll be able to see the tenses a little bit more clearly. Mhm.
Caroline's saying, "Well, what if you don't want to climb the ladder? What if you just want to do the same job for the rest of your life?"
Uh-huh.
Well, again, it depends on the kind of job you're applying for.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that if the job is the kind of job where promotion and a career path isn't obvious, like
No,
a
then
bus driver, for example,
yeah, but
or
personally, I think you should try to set yourself little objectives and express them for your your contentedness in the job, right? So if they say, "Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?" Well, you say, "I'm very committed to doing this job. This is a job that I love." I hope I will still be in this job in 5 years' time because I think I can do it well. I look forward to learning about this XYZ. In your company, it's different to what I've learned before. So I'm very excited about working with these new people or these new areas or doing these new tasks. Uh-huh. You might refer to technology. You might say, I'm sure that in the future the job will be changing because of technology, and I love technology. So I'm looking forward to the new challenges. Okay. There are those kind of things that you can say which express something about your attitude to the work. Okay. And I think that they can be positive. Not everybody has to have promotions as such. Some people are very happy. I mean, look at us, Craig. We're teachers. We're not going anywhere. There's nowhere I can go. Yeah. So, for example, Caroline, with myself, if somebody said, "Where do you think you'll be in 5 years' time?" and I'll say, "Well, I hope I'm still have my company. I hope my company's doing well. I hope that I will be able to attract sufficient customers always. Yeah. I'm very much looking forward to the changes in technology that will come, that will push my teaching in directions that I probably can't even imagine right now. Uh-huh. I'm looking forward to working with students of higher levels because in Spain, especially, the level of English is getting higher every year. So I don't teach beginners anymore. I'm teaching at much higher levels, and I'm very excited about doing that because it's a real challenge for me. Okay. So I hope that gives you some inspiration, Caroline. I got carried away there, but it's true that our jobs, Craig's job, my job, we don't have a career ladder, do we, Craig? There's nowhere I
No, look,
can go.
even
No.
if you're applying for the job as a supermarket assistant working on the cheese counter or working on the
Mm,
meat counter, you can say something like, I hope in 5 years' time, if I become permanent in this job, I will have served hundreds or maybe thousands of people with a smile and made their day just that little bit better. That would give me a lot of satisfaction. So even in the most
mhm.
basic of jobs,
No,
you
and
can
I
give
think that
put
that's
a very
very powerful. Yeah.
positive spin on
Uh-huh.
it, that you're going
Yeah.
to make people's lives just a little bit better.
Absolutely. They are very useful questions to prepare. You might not get asked them, but if you have an answer ready, then you will be much more comfortable than saying the first thing that shoots into your head. Uh-huh. We've got
Let's look
some
at some
other
other
people's
comments.
answers.
Yeah,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Sarah's saying, I'm not too sure.
This is in answer to would you like to work on your own or are you a team
Okay,
player? I think.
right.
Would you like
If
to
you work,
read it, Craig?
yes, both a team player and work by myself, because if you work on your own, you can be more concentrated or more focused. And in this case, it's more enjoyable. And oh no, in the other case, on the other hand, it's more
On the other
enjoyable
hand, Sarah, it's more
and
enjoyable. Uh-huh.
productive due to the fact that if you've got
No,
another verb in
that's
there,
very clumsy, Craig. And not due to the fact that, because. Yeah,
okay, because you
because.
share knowledge with other people and personal aspects, which results in an increase in motivation in a job.
Uh-huh.
Um, Too important to get to be successful.
I
This
think
is
you
very
want to say
important
this
to
is
be.
very
This is
important
very important.
to be successful in a job.
Yeah, it's very important to be successful, and I agree.
Hmm. I agree
Maria
too.
says, I would love to keep learning within the company. Very good. Improving my
Hmm.
skills and acquiring new ones.
Lovely,
Put the S on
Maria.
there because the
New
skills
ones.
are plural.
Hmm.
I would like to be a co-worker who everyone could ask about the enterprise, about the business, about the job,
About the
and give
business.
good answers. So helping
Uh-huh.
people in the company. Very good.
Yeah, that's a nice answer, Maria. I like that very much. Uh-huh.
It is. And Gemma's
Uh-huh.
saying, because as a data recorder, my colleagues do the same as me, led by a person in charge who gave us the job, gave us the tasks, perhaps,
Ah, okay. Who
or
gave
who
us the task?
organize the work.
Organize the
Yeah.
work. Uh-huh. Who organized the work?
And Andrea says, I would hope to be in a great organization, teaching and supporting all my knowledge while I carry on learning more and more, expanding my knowledge and
Mm, that sounds.
growing with the
Hmm.
position, to grow into the position.
Hmm. But
Before we
I do like your little twist, Craig. I think that's been really useful for me too. I've learned a lot as well. I think it's very powerful when you try to show that you can help others. Mhm. That you bring in, that you don't always keep it so egocentric, but you turn it outwards. Because when you show that you can help the company and you can help other employees and you can serve customers and you can give a smile, then you're showing that you're really contributing to the company, which I think is really powerful. That sounds very good to me. Anyway, if I was a.
Thank you. And Sarah
Uh-huh.
says she hopes she'll be working. So there you're using the future continuous with
Uh-huh.
hope, which is perfect, Sarah.
Uh-huh.
Well done. I
I
hope
hope
I'll be
I
working,
will be working.
will be
I hope I
working
will be working in an English
in English
academy.
Academy with an excellent level of English. Sorry,
Mhm.
I'm learning. Yes, we're all learning here.
You're
That's why
learning, yeah.
we're here, because we never stop learning. There's one thing I'd like
That's
to do
true.
before we say goodbye, because we're nearly out of time.
Hmm.
I know somebody who's a civil servant and works for an organization within Spain, and they are promoting a recruitment day in Spain for work in Ireland. So I'm going to
Ah,
put the information in the chat, because if anybody watching, either now live at the moment or on the replay in Facebook or YouTube, if you're looking for work abroad and you have a good level of English, then go and attend this open day. It's an open day. It's the 18th of November online, and maybe you can find a job in Ireland. That would be nice, wouldn't it?
yeah.
Ireland's a beautiful place. So I've just posted that in both chats.
Okay.
Whoops, I posted it in several pieces, but it's all the information is there. The name of the website I'll post separately in case it didn't activate. So it's europeanjobdays.eu.
Hmm.
That's the name of the website. And it is in Spanish. The presentations are in Spanish. So it's really only for Spanish speakers, but the jobs are in Ireland.
Wow.
So there you are.
That's useful, Craig, for people if they're looking for work. That's lovely.
Hopefully, yes.
Uh-huh. Okay, right. So I think that's all for now. Oh, I remember there was one really important thing I wanted to say, and I wanted to say it at the beginning of the last class and this one. And so
Yeah.
now it's at the end. But here is my top tip for an interview, especially if you're a Spanish speaker, right? And it's to do with the intonation when you introduce yourself. Because I've told people this before, but the range of English, your voice goes up and it goes down, and this is intonation. Okay, so I can talk like this, or I can talk like this. Okay, and this is to do with the range of intonation, and we've mentioned this before in the classes here, that in the Spanish range of intonation with the Spanish language is like this, right? So you can go within this range. But normally in English, this is the range in English. It's much broader. So we speak higher and we speak lower generally, okay? And we're not going to go all into intonation, but there's one very important thing about intonation. When you say your name, right, in English, so if I say, hi, my name's Lynne, my name's Lynne, and I hope you can hear it, that you can hear Lynne, right? Now, the normal Spanish intonation is, hola, me llamo Lynne, like that, Lynne, or Sara, me llamo Sara. Okay. Now, if you're having the job interview in English, please don't say, my name's Sarah. You have to say, my name's Sarah. Okay. And that is very, very
only
important.
only only if Sarah's your name, obviously.
Only if Sarah's your name. Yeah.
Not if it's
Well,
Maria. Then you-
okay. Well, my name's Maria. Maria. Okay. Or my
Maria.
name's Hema. Hema. Okay. So try to make, when you say your name, try to put your intonation a little bit broader. Okay. Now, in Spanish, you will probably think you sound very exaggerated, but in English, you sound friendly. When you speak with the narrower range of intonation, like in Spanish, if you say your name like that in English, the English people, it sounds uninterested. So
Yeah.
you do not sound engaged or interested
You
in the
sound bored.
conversation. You sound bored. So at the beginning of an interview, make sure you try to keep that intonation broad. Maybe during the interview, it's a bit harder because you're focusing on the answers to the questions, but at least your name at the beginning. Mhm.
Especially
That's really important.
exclamations like, "Oh, really?" If they
Mm.
give you some information or some facts, like last
Uh-huh.
year the company made over 2.5 million euros. Oh, really? That's
Uh-huh.
interesting. So that really, so up
Uh-huh.
and down, that shows your interest and you're engaged in the conversation. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll do that one weekly in a little bit of work on intonation. That'd be
Uh-huh.
interesting.
Ooh. Bit hard when I can't hear their intonation back. I don't know whether that's a good topic for this format, but we'll see.
Well,
Okay, so thank you, everybody. Yeah, that's been, I hope it's been useful for you. That's the end of our online interviews. I think we have to go back to work now, haven't we?
yeah, we have to go back to work. Before we go, we'll tell you where we're from because this might be the first time you're watching. So,
Mhm.
Lynn, tell them about putitlikethis.com.
Okay, putitlikethis.com is my website. I'm an online teacher and I make tailor-made courses for people. So I don't offer standard courses, it's all tailor-made courses. People have lots of different needs. So maybe you're preparing for a specific exam, maybe you're preparing because you have to give a presentation in English. Maybe you are learning general English and you want to learn general English like step by step or business English. So people usually come to me with a specific need and then I try to develop a personalized course for them. If you go to my website, you'll see details of all the things that I do there and you can contact me there too.
And I'm Craig from mansioningles.com, where you can study English for free. And there is going to be another fluency speaking masterclass starting on the 24th of November in about 2 weeks. So there's one place left. The maximum in a group is 8, and there's one place left. If you're interested, put your email address on this website, englishmasterclass.net, and I will contact you with information about the course. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you, Lynn. It's been great. Been a lot of
Yes,
fun.
thanks, Craig. Yeah.
And we'll be
And
back
thank
in
you,
2
everybody, for
weeks.
sharing. Yeah. Okay, we'll see you soon.
Take
Bye-bye.
care. Bye bye. Have a
Bye.
good week.